What's up, Madridistas? Happy Sunday. This is Kiyan, Sobhani. I hope you're all doing well during the international break. We're hitting you with a quick clip this week that is taken from last week's Patreon mailbag that went up exclusively and goes up exclusively every single week over on patreon.com/Managing Madrid. If you're not a patron yet, now's the time. Get in on the action. It's so much fun, so much bonus content, and little bit of bonus tip here for those of you guys in India especially, but I think other countries are affected by this as well. A lot of people in India can't join Patreon for various reasons, but they can join YouTube memberships. So we launched YouTube memberships this week. So you can get all of our Patreon content if you're a YouTube member. You can just go to the Kiyan Sobhani YouTube channel and you can subscribe there. Become a membership, get a membership and become a member, and you'll get all of our patron content. If you're a patron, you don't need both. And if you're a YouTube member, you don't need both. Just pick one or the other. But we did open that up for people who were having trouble joining Patreon in specific countries up until now. So that's the thing. Go do that if you need to. And it's kind of slow right now. It's international break. We are covering all of Real Madrid's players who are on international duty in written form over on managingmadrid.com. So keep it locked there. And Matt and I are going to record a podcast later tonight as well. It's going to be about Real Madrid's striker issue and whether or not the whole issue of only having Joselu as a striker in the entire squad, is that an exaggerated issue, and will Real Madrid be okay this season? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure what conclusion we'll come to. We haven't recorded yet, but that's going to be up later tonight, and that's going to go out for free. All right. Today's clip, taken on from the mailbag last week, is a question that was posed to us. And the question is, has Kroos surpassed Beckenbauer as the greatest German footballer ever? A lot to think about. So Lucas and I answer that question, and in the entire episode, there's a lot more there. I'll tell you my latest on what my sources say about Alphonso Davies and whether or not he is an option for Real Madrid next summer. And just some things about Raul, Zidane and Bellingham, and a few other things. So that's over on patreon.com/Managing Madrid. All right. Without further ado, let's get to today's clip. Enjoy it, and here it is. Shay's second question is, on the podcast and on Discord, we have talked about how Kroos has reached Zizou's greatness. Does this mean that, logically speaking, he's the greatest German of all time, having surpassed Beckenbauer? Again, we need a statue of that moron Uli Hoeneß at the Bernabeu. They literally took the Kroos money and bought Benatia for the same price.
Look, I still think Beckenbauer might be ahead, and is ahead, but I think it's closer than some people would be willing to admit and discuss. I think it's not disrespectful to have this argument or this conversation, which is definitely a testament to Kroos' legacy and Kroos' career overall and Kroos' peak ability. So I still think Beckenbauer deserves to be ahead. But again, if someone came to me and said, I think Kroos has surpassed Beckenbauer in football, I would not call that person crazy. So that's definitely a testament of how good a player Kroos has been throughout his entire career. He's definitely a football legend. He's top 5, maybe even top 3 midfielders of his generation.
Wow, this is not a conversation I expected to be even having, when we signed Kroos in 2014.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The fact that you can have this conversation is crazy. My answer to this is probably no. He hasn't surpassed Beckenbauer. In part because of Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer is mid-70s. You could argue at one point could have been the best player in the world. I don't think Kroos ever had that.
Right.
Obviously, different time, different era, so you can't compare. You can't, it's impossible to do that. But I don't think it's absolutely crazy if you did like an all-time draft and someone decided to pick Kroos for their respective team over Beckenbauer based on fit and need or whatever. You want a better passer. Maybe you already have someone who can play in that deeper midfield anchor role or sweeper wherever you want to place him, and you wanted to pick Kroos instead. I don't think you'd be crazy to do that. But I don't think Beckenbauer has been surpassed.
I don't think Zidane has been surpassed either. Although again, it's close and it's very debatable, and it's something I can be convinced of. But if I were to pick a side here, I would still think that Zidane's career is better than Kroos. Not only in terms of achievements and all that, but also in terms of peak ability.
I think Kroos has surpassed Zidane in Real Madrid.
Oh, in Real Madrid career and legacy, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just talking careers here. And legends. I'm in terms of their legacies in Real Madrid, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I had an interesting, it wasn't even a debate. It was like a one-word Instagram DM. But someone had asked me to put my all-time Real Madrid 11 maybe a couple months ago on Instagram stories, and I put it. And I put my midfield was Redondo, Modric, and Zidane. And one of our patrons, Sergio Villarino, who is also
big friend of mine, yeah.
Yeah, he's also a football historian. He knows his history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said, how could you put Zidane over Kroos? Paraphrasing, I don't know exactly what he said. And I said, Kroos should be starting if we're picking their legacy. But Zidane in a Champions League final, he has that je ne sais quoi aura of, like, you probably want him on the field. Like, his Real Madrid version I'm talking about, Not like, he wasn't that washed up. Like, I think sometimes we exaggerate that part. Like, he's still probably the best player in the world when he came to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he proved that over the years. So it's not like he came here as this, like washed up, 40-year-old. He was amazing for us. So but he didn't have that long of a career with us.
Yeah, and again, are we talking about picking 11 players to play against the aliens for the sake of humanity, or are we picking careers in Real Madrid? This is always the same
Two different
argument and the same criteria we need to establish before. Like, again, if we're picking 11 players to face the aliens, I pick Zidane, Real Madrid's version of Zidane.
Yeah,
and if we're picking like who had a better career for Real Madrid, I'm picking Kroos. Yeah.
That's correct.